This program is brought to you by the Caregiver Learning Academy, providing professional caregiver education and training in Southwest Colorado.
Local environmental interests threw a party this week to celebrate a May 19th federal district court order that stops a Forest Service land exchange that would have opened the door to a large-scale development next to the Wolf Creek ski area. The project would have created a village of 10,000 residents on land surrounded by wilderness. The court order is the latest development in a 30-year saga that includes several lawsuits, charges of collusion and undue political influence, and unlawful decisions that favored the developer while ignoring a number of environmental laws and regulations.
So it's certainly a vindication for what we've said for years, which is this has never had the thorough analysis, this project, and it still hasn't, and the Forest Service ducked their responsibility. And of course, the developer was happy to have, the Forest Service playing that same tune as them.
The issue began in 1986 when the Rio Grande National Forest approved a land exchange to give Texas businessmen Charles Level and Texas billionaire Red McCombs ownership in 420 acres of Forest Service property adjacent to Wolf Creek ski area. The Wolf Creek parcel is surrounded by Forest Service land that serves as a major watershed resource in the Rio Grande drainage, habitat for the endangered lynx, and an important wildlife migration route. Without access to Highway 160, the two businessmen couldn't develop the property. Starting in 2001, the developers proposed several plans to obtain access to the highway, but their efforts were stopped by two successful lawsuits. Then, in 2009, the developers offered a third proposal to exchange nearly 100 acres of their Wolf Creek parcel with nearly 200 acres of Forest Service land adjacent to the highway. Rio Grande Forest Supervisor Dan Dallas approved the land exchange in 2014, arguing that the Forest Service could not legally block access to private property and that any development considerations belonged to elected officials in the mineral county where the parcel is located. Four environmental groups, including the Durango-based San Juan Citizens Alliance, Rocky Mountain Wild, the San Luis Valley Ecosystem Council, and the Wilderness Workshop, filed suit in federal district court opposing the ruling. After reviewing nearly 100,000 documents obtained by the plaintiffs through the Freedom of Information Act, Judge Richard Match issued an order to stop the exchange, citing the Forest Service's failure to consider all of the issues required by the National Environmental Protection Act. Forest Service Supervisor Dan Dallas declined by email to comment on the ruling. While environmentalists won an important battle in this latest court decision, local environmental groups say the war isn't over.
The project in itself is not entirely dead because they still have the inholding, but what the judge's order means is there's still no access to the property, and there's no access, there's no development. So that's the part for those of us who are very interested in the continued protection of the area are particularly excited about.
To read more about the history of the village at Wolf Creek and the recent court order, visit the San Juan Citizens Alliance website.